everyone, and welcome to another special edition of the Warren Hayes Show. My name is Mr. Warren Hayes. Thank you very much for being here. This special edition, what makes it special? It is special because it's a prediction show! A prediction show for Money in the Bank. Oh my God. Bank! I was doing the letters. See, M-I-T-B. Money in the Bank 2018. Thank you for being here. I have all sorts of drinks. I have a delicious root beer that's about to be done, and I also have a coffee. You know, there's just a little bit of caffeine going on in my veins right now. So yeah, I figured I'd take a few minutes to chat with you, to offer unselfishly into the world my predictions for Money in the Bank 2018. Guys, I don't know what to expect from this pay-per-view. I think it's going to be, look, it can't be worse than Backlash, right? Can it be worse than Backlash? No, it cannot. It must not be. But I think it's going to be a very uneven card. Let's run down. We'll run down. I think my feeling is that what's going to be the matches that are going to be good are going to be really good. We're going to have some great matches. I think the latter matches are going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, we'll get there eventually. All right. Just stick with me. Yeah. On the pre-show, let's just jump right in, shall we? On the pre-show, we have the Bludgeon Brothers, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, defending against the Club, Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson. That's going to be on the pre-show. And that, by in itself, should confirm to you that this match, that the Bludgeon Brothers are going to retain. And I mean, there's no two ways about it. That's what's going to happen. So we can move right along. Daniel Bryan. This is another match. Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan versus the Big Cass. I think that this is Big Cass's match to win. I think he needs to win this one, and I'm going to go with this as a prediction. And it has nothing to do with, they're not going to have Daniel Bryan win because he hasn't re-signed yet, or garbage like that. I think Daniel Bryan, first of all, I think it's 50-50 booking to begin with. And, you know, WWE are masters of 50-50 booking. So I think that's one thing. I think if they want to invest in Big Cass and make him come across as a true, credible big guy threat, he has to take down Daniel Bryan. I'm not saying that he's going to do it fairly, but I do believe he will register a win against Daniel Bryan. And you know what? Daniel Bryan can take the loss. It's not a problem. Daniel Bryan will dust himself off and start over again. And maybe will actually be leading to something. There's WWE, understand the value of Daniel Bryan. You can bank on that. Money in the bank on that. No, they do understand the value of Daniel Bryan. They understand they see the crowd reactions. The guy is over. He's one of the top three guys, most over guys in the company right now. Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins being the two others. Yeah, no, he knows what he's. They know what's good here. I really think that the story that's going to be told here is Daniel is going to try and win. Is going to try and win this one by submission. I think this is one of the reasons why they've been doing a lot of he's been doing a particular amount of submission work recently, mat wrestling. You know, the idea to get Big Cass off his vertical base and blah, 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 blah. But Big Cass is going to weasel his way into a victory. I don't think this is... he's going to win, but it's not going to be fair. My nose is very itchy. Apologies for that, but man. You hear that? That's itchy. Intercontinental Championship is on the line. Seth Rollins defends it against Elias. If you've been listening to my Raw and SmackDown reviews, and if not, you should. I really like the Seth and Elias feud. I think it's fun. I think it's good. I think Elias is more than carrying his own in this feud. We love Seth. Elias is a great heat magnet, and people like him as well. They like hating him. It's a fun feud, and I think these two guys are going to give us a great match. I think we're going to have another good time here. Now, as far as picking a winner goes, this one is tricky, right? Right up until very recently, the rumor that was going around was that Seth Rollins was going to be moved over to the Universal title to take on Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam and be the guy who finally gets the title off of the Beast. Apparently, these plans have changed. Now, of course, Seth is being considered to be put back into the Universal title picture. Duh. It might not happen at SummerSlam, but it will happen this year, within the next 10 months. He will be challenging for the Universal title again. Probably even winning. Now, here's what I'm thinking. If they wanted to pull the trigger really soon on this, they'd have him drop the title to Elias at Money in the Bank, and then he'd shift gears and go after Lesnar. But I really don't think they're going to do that. Not yet. And there's the other thing is that, like, I know everyone is sick of Brock versus Roman, but this has been going on for way too long now. They have to get the title on Roman. Roman has to beat Brock. Otherwise, the past 18 months have been utterly pointless, because this is what the build was for. So that's one thing that they might do. But honestly, I believe Seth is still very young in his IC title reign. I think he's doing a fantastic job. He's bringing credibility to the belt. And the feud with Elias is fun. It's a good feud. I think Seth wins the title. Retains the title. But the feud goes on. We'll continue with Seth versus Elias. And this might actually lead us, like, I might actually see Elias winning the title at Extreme Rules. That's the next pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken. In an ODQ or a weapons match, and they start, right now both guys have signature weapons. Elias has the guitar, Seth has chairs. I think this would work, and it would be super consequential in the storyline. It would be great. And I would see Elias winning it there. You still keep Seth looking strong, and then maybe have a rubber match at SummerSlam or something. But this feud is really fun. So my prediction is for Seth to retain. I wouldn't be surprised if Elias wins. And if Elias wins here, it'll mean one of two things. It'll either mean that they are going to put Seth against Brock at SummerSlam or in a program with Dean Ambrose. Hey, you know what would be even more amazing? Seth retains, goes to Extreme Rules against Elias. They do the weapons match, so it's no DQ. Dean Ambrose returns and actually costs Seth the title. Because we all want heel Dean, right? This is what we want. He costs Seth the title at Extreme Rules, setting up a big fight at SummerSlam between Dean and Seth. Man, put me on the booking committee right now. Wow, that'd be great. That would be fantastic. You heard it here first. And another match, Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. Listen, don't let the feud discourage you. Both Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn are super talented wrestlers. This has the potential to be a show stealer. It does. Question is, will management let them do it? That's the other thing. This has the potential to be a fantastic match. I just hope that this is the end. That we're done with this feud. And I'm not alone in this feeling. Like, this feud has got to stop. This has to be the blow-off. We have to pull the plug and let both guys go off and do other things. And quickly, especially for Bobby Lashley. Man, this feud was frustratingly pointless. No, anyway, Bobby Lashley's going to win. I don't think there's much of a... I don't think there'll be much argument on that end. The only reason why Sami would win is to continue this feud. And man, I don't want this feud to continue. I want it to stop. I want both guys to go on to better things for reals. But I like this feud. I like the idea of this match, but the feud has to be put out to pasture, taken out behind the barn, if you know what I mean. Like that movie Old Yeller. You remember Old Yeller about the faithful dog who gets rabies at the end, right? And then everyone starts crying because the kid has to go put a bullet in him. It's kind of like Old Yeller. Only no one likes Old Yeller. And everybody actually hopes he was dead. It's not like Old Yeller. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. Of course Roman is going to win this match. My God. You know, here's the thing is that I really liked this feud. I liked it. I thought they did a great job with this feud. The whole way through. I just don't care about the match. It's going to be no drama. It's going to be slow. I don't know. And, you know, unmotivated Roman is unmotivated. That's all I have to say. Roman Reigns picks up the win anyway, so what does he care? The SmackDown Women's Champion Carmella against Asuka. This one's a tricky one. I find that both women's title matches are tricky, but we're going to start with Carmella and Asuka. I'm an Asuka mark, all right? I'm going to come out and say it. No need to hide any longer. You know my true colors. They are multiple and fuzzy, and sometimes I wear a battle mask. I'm an Asuka mark. So I'll be honest, sometimes I have trouble. I have trouble separating what I liking Asuka a bunch and being reasonable in her matches. Like if I were to look at this, I'm like, Asuka's gonna kill her. Asuka's gonna kill you. That simple. But this is not the world we live in. It doesn't make sense for Carmella to drop the title at this point. They're building her, right? This is the start of something with Carmella. It'd blow my mind if they took the title off of her immediately. I'd be happy because Asuka'd be champ, but it'd feel too fast. I think what they're doing here is they're establishing Carmella as a credible heel champ who can beat the big names, can beat Charlotte Flair, can beat Asuka. Or at least not lose to them. You know what I mean? Not lose the title or whatever. I think that Asuka wins, but she doesn't win the title. They've started pushing Asuka again as the threat, you know, reminding us of her winning streak. That she's only suffered 2 losses. she won the handicap match last week just to remind us, right? Okay, Asuka's a badass. Like, Carmella is in trouble, and I think Carmella is in trouble. I think she will be in trouble. But I don't think she's going to drop the title. I think she's going to. I think she might force a disqualification or something. But yeah, I think Asuka's going to win, but not the SmackDown Women's Championship. That's my prediction. And I also think they might extend this feud a little. We'll see. But like I said, it doesn't make sense for them to kill off Carmella's push so soon. Championship push so soon, because they are working to establishing her as a credible heel threat. Now, as for the Raw Women's Championship, Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey, I believe Nia Jax is going to retain. She's going to win. And no, I'm not a Ronda Rousey hater. Man, to be honest, my main concern here, regardless of anything else, my main concern here is for everyone to look good. I want Nia to look good in the ring. I want Rousey to look good in the ring, because if both women look good, it's going to be a win for everyone. But if it comes across as sloppy or a little iffy, man, like, honestly, I don't think people realize just how much pressure Nia Jax is under. Ronda Rousey is one thing, but Nia has to be feeling a substantial amount of pressure because of the performance she has to put on. I don't know what they're doing. The match will probably be super choreographed, but again, I don't mind, because I want everyone to look good. I want the Ronda Rousey experiment to work. I want this to work because it is good for wrestling. It's good for everyone. It's good for the ladies. It's good for everyone involved right now. I really think it's too early to put a strap on her. I really do. And I think the main problem with this feud, and if you watched especially my last Raw and SmackDown review, the feud between them, it's confused me. I've been confused. It started off like they were the challenge at the red carpet of the NBC thing. It just came across as if they were sitting around at a book club. And then the contract signing with Stephanie McMahon tried to add tension into this, but it was forced. It was a good segment, but it didn't add to the feud. The only good part that I really liked about the feud was when Nia Jax was putting on her exhibition, which I think was the week after, where she was beating up the jobber. Nia she was a little smarmy and super confident, and everything was clicking. And then the face-to-face last week, or earlier this week, man, I don't understand this feud. And then Nia starting to tell Ronda Rousey, I'm not sure you deserve this shot. Well, you're the one who called her out. That was your challenge. I think what would have helped is if the lines were drawn really clearly and Nia was a heel and Ronda was the baby face, and Nia could pull off some heel shit on her in the build up to this. But Nia's kind of like a smarmy tweener, and I don't know how to position myself really. And honestly, like, good on WWE for using Nia as a face due to her body positivity stances, anti-bullying message. All of that was fantastic, and it was honestly a great feel-good moment, and yes, top notch. But Nia is a natural heel. Her moveset, the way she performs in the ring, the way she executes her moves, she's a heel. And she has to come back to that. And I really think this would have served Ronda a great deal. I really do. For some reason, I think they're going to stretch out Ronda's first title win at least to SummerSlam. If I was booking it, Ronda Rousey would win her first title at freaking WrestleMania next year. That's what I would do. I had a booking plan even set up for this. Maybe I should do a video on that sometime. How I would have booked Ronda Rousey's first year in WWE. I have ideas. Man, you know, I'm worried about this match, not as much for the result as the performance, because really everyone has to look good. Anyway, I think Nia retains. There might even be some chicanery. Might even be a cash-in. That might be the... like, these are hard to predict, but there might actually be a cash-in at that point in time if the women's ladder match happened before. Anyway. I think Nia retains. I don't think Ronda's coming out with the title, but there's going to be some chicanery involved to announce that. And I really think that WWE would prefer Ronda to win her first championship, her first world title on one of the big four pay-per-views. I'd drag this shit out till WrestleMania, man. You could bet I'd do it. Count on me. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I think Alexa Bliss is going to win. I'd love Becky Lynch to win. I think she deserves it, but I will be the first to say, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, wrestling's not a meritocracy. Becky Lynch would deserve to get the title. She deserves to be Ms. Money in the Bank. Charlotte doesn't need it. Lana, not ready. Naomi, timing's not right. It doesn't feel right for Naomi right now. Who else is in there? Natalya. Natalya has the leg injury excuse. I don't think she'd be a good Money in the Bank holder. I think she's moving on to a program with Ronda Rousey. They're hinting at it enough. And I think Natalya's... I think it's only a question of time before Natalya goes back as a heel. I think this face thing is a swerve. Alexa Bliss. Oh, and Sasha. Sasha doesn't need it either. She has her feud with Bayley to begin with, but Sasha doesn't need Money in the Bank. She's a credible world champion. She has storylines. She can adapt. Alexa, I think, is in this weird position as far as her character and booking goes, where you have to ask yourself, what do we do with Alexa when she's not champion? Or she's not a contender? What has she done in the past month? Well, past month, what am I saying? Since Backlash. Month and a week or two. Man, not much. Take her out of the title picture, and what does she have left? It's hard to take... She gains so much credibility and prestige and presence when she's champ, and when she's not champ, there's like something missing. It's weird. Like, what do you do with Alexa Bliss when she's not champion? So I think by putting her in a position where she's an overall contender, where she can just cash this in anytime, first of all, it fits her character perfectly. I would see her getting the opportunistic win. She might, if she wins, you know what? If Alexa Bliss does indeed win Money in the Bank, and if the Money in the Bank, the women's Money in the Bank ladder match is booked before the Raw Women's Championship match, I am willing to bet the farm that I don't have, but that I intend to have once I retire, because I really want to raise chickens. I am ready to bet that farm that Alexa Bliss is going to cash in at that moment and a moment where both Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax are super vulnerable. Boom! Look, I think that's what it is. I think that's how it works. And there are no strong heels right now in the women's division. Like really strong heels. Right now, Alexa, Ruby are about as strong heels as you have on Raw. Is Mickie James a heel anymore? I'm not sure. Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. They're there. They're heels, but I wouldn't consider them strong. There's only two really strong heels. Women heels. Your heels better be really strong then. And I think Alexa Bliss as champ is a super strong heel. I think she's going to regain the title at some point. She's winning Money in the Bank. And she's going to successfully cash in at some point. Maybe even that evening. As for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, you know who I think is going to win? Samoa Joe, baby. But this is really a toss-up. Honestly, I think this is between two guys. I think it's between Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens. I don't see anyone else being a legit contender. Let's get one thing out of the way first and foremost. I believe that I predict that the member of the New Day who's going to be joining the ladder match is going to be Xavier Woods. The reason why is simple. Here's my reasoning. It's by elimination. Big E is a big mountain of a man. We already have Braun Strowman. We already have Samoa Joe. We already have Rusev. I'd even count Kevin Owens in there as well. Kevin's a big, hefty guy as well. That's half of the competitors who are really big dudes. I think another one in there would do the match a disservice. Not saying that Big E sucks. It's just too many big guys. Kofi, we have seen more and more. We have seen him do crazy nut bar things with ladders in the past. I don't think we need to see him again in another ladder match. I'm actually expecting him to get involved in the ladder match. I think he's going to do a spot anyway, but we don't need to see him in there. He's had a hefty singles career. The only guy who needs some singles shine is Xavier Woods. And I've always really liked Xavier Woods' in-ring work. I think he's now in a position where he can shine. I think it's his time to shine, really. I think I've talked about this before as well. I think they're moving the New Day more into the territory of a stable, like a faction, more than an actual tag team. I think we're going to see more and more of these three guys being involved in singles competition, singles situations. And I'm fine with that, going back and forth like that. But I do believe that I do believe they're trying to establish them more. Excuse me. Something just jumped. I do think they're going to try and establish them more as a faction, a stable of guys. So the only guy who really needs some singles, some singles love is Xavier Woods. I really think he's going to be the guy who's going to get in this match. I really hope so. Now to come back to Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe, they're both guys who can make the briefcase work for them. Kevin Owens' heel work is based around Kevin Owens' best heel work is when he's the credible heel. When what he says makes sense and you're like, oh, damn, what you're saying it hits home and is very, very true, and I have trouble saying that you're wrong. You know, kind of like the entire feud that he and Sami had with Shane McMahon. You remember when he was the new face of America? When he had the U.S. title? You know, he always integrates these situations deeply into his gimmick, and it'd be great to see him running around with the Money in the Bank briefcase saying, I'm going to be the next champion. And you're like, yeah, you know what? You could do this at any time, especially if he's in a situation, if they keep pushing the fact that he has Stephanie McMahon's ear. Man, that'd be great. He would be really good. But I think Samoa Joe would benefit most from this. If you consider and accept that Samoa Joe's character is menacing, looming hitman guy, like a dangerous hitman that'll come out of the shadows and beat you down into a bloody pulp. If you consider that that's his character, he needs to have, his shadow needs to loom large, right? Always have to have, this feeling, this presence that Samoa Joe could be right around the corner. And what better way to do that, especially for champions, than to have Samoa Joe, who is a natural at this, actually walk around with the briefcase. The other reason, and the main reason, well, actually they connect into each other. See, if he's logical, if he's methodical assassin guy, hitman, he has to back up what he says, right? And unfortunately, I don't feel like Samoa Joe recently, or at least in the past year, has had the opportunity, or 18 months, has had the opportunity to really put his money where his mouth is. Remember his feud with Brock Lesnar? Remember what he did to Paul Heyman? That was awesome. When he had Paul Heyman up in a corner and he was, whispering off camera to him, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something to you. And you're not going to like this. I don't remember exactly what he was saying, but that was the gist of it, right? And he was basically going around and saying, there's only one guy who can beat Brock Lesnar, and that's me. What happened? He didn't beat Brock Lesnar. He's out with an injury for a while. He comes back. Gets into a thing with Roman Reigns, right? He's saying, Roman Reigns, you're a failure. You've been trying to win the Universal Champion and you can't. I'm going to expose you for the failure you are because I'm Samoa Joe. Guess what happens? Roman beats him. Samoa Joe's character, his promos are so convincing and good and full of intensity, credibility, that the only way it can be sustained as credible is if indeed he starts winning matches. These big matches where he guarantees the win, he has to do it. I believe throughout the entire roster of guys who are in the ladder match between Owens, Rude, Strowman, Miz, Rusev, Finn, and the New Day guys, Samoa Joe has the most to lose. I really do. It's his match to lose. Braun Strowman doesn't need Money in the Bank. Braun Strowman is one of the top 3 guys of the company as far as being over goes. And Vince McMahon knows it. Management knows it. They're going to pull the trigger on this guy at some point. But he doesn't need Money in the Bank. Miz doesn't need Money in the Bank. Rusev would need Money in the Bank. But I don't think this is the Rusev push. Not this way anyway. Same thing with Finn. I think Finn might be another guy who would benefit from having it, but he doesn't need it. Maybe Bobby Roode. But that would be the swerve win. That'd be like this year's Baron Corbin. I'd be like, what? What just happened? Baron Corbin wins? What? That'd be it. But then again, part of my logic here as well is that since I'm convinced, I'm fairly confident that Alexa Bliss is going to win Money in the Bank. I don't think both briefcases are going to the same brand. So that's another reason why I think it's going to jump to Samoa Joe. Although it would be entertaining as hell if it was the New Day and the New Day could apply Freebird rules on Money in the Bank, on the briefcase, that'd be hilarious. That'd be so good. They could make that work, but I don't think so. I'd be surprised. I like being surprised. But I like being right more. And finally, WWE Champion AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. And I believe Shinsuke Nakamura is going to win and become our new WWE Champion. I feel like AJ, I think he's injured. He's barely been on shows recently. They've been protecting him. They've been keeping him out of the ring. There's something. I think he's itching to take some time off and heal something. I think Shinsuke's been doing amazing work since WrestleMania. He has fallen into place with his heel persona. Oh my God! It has been extraordinary. Really, really extraordinary. And let's be frank, he's been carrying this feud for the past few months. Weeks. Shinsuke has been literally carrying this feud all on his shoulders by the strength of his personality, integrating the 10 counts recently into his matches. Man, I don't know why anyone else, I don't know why you wouldn't think that Shinsuke is not going to make it out of Money in the Bank not champion. I think the only way he would not be champion is if this match happens, it does indeed main event. If it happens after the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, I think there's a fair chance that someone will cash in. Especially if it's a guy like Samoa Joe. Look at his hair. Yeah, so I think Shinsuke should win. He's been putting in fantastic work. I think it's time for AJ to distance himself from the belt. I think he's had a great run. He's had ups and downs. He's delivered the best stuff he could despite the hokey storylines and terrible booking decisions. And I prefer him right now. I want him to be the chaser and not the chased as far as titles go. So I think he deserves a rest from the belt. Maybe he even deserves a rest period. And I think he deserves a rest period. That being said, let the guy tweak himself back into health. Move away from the WWE title for a while and let Shinsuke have a run. And let's get Shinsuke versus Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam. There you go. That's what we want. We want great matches. We want things that we haven't seen before. There you go. So those are my predictions. Folks, let's run them down one more time. Bludgeon Brothers versus Gallows and Anderson. The Bludgeon Brothers are going to retain their titles and beat the hell out of Gallows and Anderson. Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. Big Cass, I believe, is going to win the match. Intercontinental Championship, Seth Rollins versus Elias. Seth is going to probably retain, but it will be very indicative of where they're going with storylines if Elias wins tonight. Not tonight, but in 2 days. Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. Bobby Lashley is going to win. That's a lock. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. There's another lock. That's Roman who's coming out on top of that one. SmackDown Women's Championship. Asuka wins, but she doesn't win the title. That's my prediction. Raw Women's Champion Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. Nia Jax is going to win and retain the title. The Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Alexa Bliss. Men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Samoa Joe. And the WWE Championship will be defended by AJ Styles. I don't know why I blanked out. By AJ Styles against Shinsuke Nakamura. And I really, really want Shinsuke to win all of this points to Shinsuke winning. It makes perfect sense. You know what I forgot to mention? In the storyline, right now they're building to the fact that Shinsuke's keeping his cool and AJ's losing it. And I think that's the story that's going to be told in the ring. And ultimately, that's what's going to cost AJ the match. And I hope it's good. And I hope the entire pay-per-view, I hope we have a good pay-per-view. I hope we have a good time. There's the potential for a couple of low points here. But who knows? We could be surprised. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. If you like what you're seeing, man, I am doing more and more content. Yesterday, I put up my NXT TakeOver Chicago 2 predictions. You can take a look at that right here on my YouTube channel. If you like that, I also do reviews. I do Raw and SmackDown reviews on a weekly basis. You can check those out again on my YouTube account. On Periscope, I've started doing live NXT reviews. So you can go check those out. Those are there as well. And, you know, hopefully you can actually make it one evening and come chit-chat NXT with me. And I also do, in collaboration with Sean Ross, Sap of Fightful.com, I do retro reviews for their Fightful Select premium membership service. We recently did a review of WCW's Great American Bash pay-per-view, Great American Bash 96. So that's right there. The next pay-per-view that we're going to be revisiting, Sean and I, is ECW Hardcore Heaven 95. So that should be fun. If you're not signed up to Fightful Select, well, then you can't get to see my face again. So go check that out as well. Check me out. Also check me out on Twitter. Come follow me on Twitter. I like chatting with people. I'm a positive guy. I like talking about fun stuff. I don't get negative very often. So if you're into that stuff, come find me on Twitter. Mr. Warren Hayes. Mr. Warren Hayes on Twitter. MR. The abbreviation. MR. Warren Hayes. That's 2 R's in Warren, not 2 R's in Mr. There's only 1 R in the word and in the abbreviation. There's only one, but there's 2 R's in Warren, 1 N. Okay, I'm going to stop. It's getting confusing. Thank you again very much, everyone. That's a lot of caffeine here, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me. Have a great time watching these pay-per-views. And guess what? I'll see you next time.